You're listening to the JJS Podcast. Up to this point, the most successful companies around the world have had entire departments made up of full-time employees dedicated to providing marketing communication support, leaving every other company without those resources at a distinct disadvantage. Well, the world has changed, and we have to change with it. That's why I'm going to take my 15 years of experience of managing marketing communication strategies for some of the biggest brands in the world and share that knowledge with you so that it can improve your business and your life. So if you're a business professional or an entrepreneur who wants to learn how to deploy the right strategies given your position and the position of the audience you're trying to reach, you're in the right place. Hey guys, welcome to the JJS Podcast. So today I'm going to be sharing a few things, and one of them is going to be sort of an announcement that I will provide later on in the episode. But first, I want to kind of discuss this kind of new era of digital marketing communications that we're entering. Now, I recognize that it's a little self-serving to suggest we're entering kind of this new era of digital marketing communications dominance, if you will. But that doesn't negate the fact that it's the case right now happening, and that's kind of why I'm talking so much about all this stuff when it comes to the world of work and how things have shifted and changed. It's kind of all related, and I happened to be in a field that was sort of destined for this kind of moment, where we are completely now, we've made the transition to a pretty much digital majority, a touch point environment now, in terms of business and transactions and internal operations at companies and whatnot. So, leading up to this before, what tended to be the case was, and if you've worked in the professional world for a while, you probably noticed that a lot of executives rose up from the sales organization, and that's because for many, many years, sales-focused, sales-oriented activities were kind of, the favorite child, if you will, of companies, right? They recognized, operations was important. They always recognized, to some level, marketing was important, and finance and all these things. But really, sales has always kind of been the the cherished kind of facet of every organization, every company, and which made sense, right? They felt that sales is kind of what pushes things forward, kind of moves the needle, and so sales, folks that were talented in sales in particular have always kind of been, gotten more visibility and rewarded more because they were directly bringing in revenue. Now, that hasn't changed per se, but what has changed as a result of everything that's happened with the pandemic and everyone going virtual, and this kind of environment where, as much as people keep fighting it and keep trying to resist it, this new shift now where we're kind of moving to this purely, not purely, but for the most part, virtual kind of environment, where folks interact with a brand, or routinely interact with a brand, or conduct their work digitally, enabled by digital technology. Because of that, there is now, and if you've been working the last couple of years, you've also kind of noticed this as well, there is a greater focus and a greater emphasis on folks who are talented in terms of digital marketing, and digitally enabled communications, even if it's not directly marketing or sales related. Just being able to communicate and coordinate things through digital means has become much more important now than ever. It was kind of always going that way. We were kind of gradually inching along, but folks that had been around for a long time, for many years, who did come from the sales organization, and now are in very powerful positions, they kind of left that stuff to other people, right? They was like, you guys do that stuff. I'll stick to what I know, and good handshake and talking to folks in person, and a well executed or a successful happy hour with vendors and clients and things like that. That's the stuff that I'm good at, and that's what I'll focus on and whatnot. So what's happening is, because everyone is having to adjust their operational models now for this new kind of digital, this predominantly digital environment in every aspect of business, it is now kind of a requirement, even though people have not gotten to the point where they fully accept that yet. It's not kind of a requirement to be able to, successfully navigate and function at a high level through digital means and through digital enabled technologies and communications and whatnot. You can't not understand this stuff anymore if you want to have a successful professional career, either with a large organization or starting your own company or starting your own business. It's kind of, we're at a point now where, everyone really had to kind of understand Office 365, right? Microsoft Office. And you had to kind of understand PowerPoint and Microsoft Word. It was just something you kind of had to know for many years. We're getting to a point now where you kind of have to understand, have to know how digital marketing and digital communications work. You just have to. And so, I've taught for a little while. I've taught at different schools and whatnot. And, most recently I taught a course at UM, and I noticed that a lot of the folks who were in the course, were not necessarily folks who were in digital marketing career fields. These were people from different areas and different fields. They're from finance. They were, I've had accountants. I've had ops people. I've had entrepreneurs. I've had people who had their own dentist offices and whatnot. And so you hear that and you think, why would they need to go through the exercise of taking a course in digital marketing and an introduction to digital marketing communications? It's because it's becoming gradually more and more clear to everyone that these are table stakes skills. You have to be able to, if not, perform these things yourself, at least understand them. Because we're now in a situation where most a lot of companies' entire staffs are remote or virtual, right? How else do you communicate with them? You can't, invite them into your office and charm their pants off necessarily anymore. If that was your aptitude, if that was your skill, you have to have a clear understanding of how to communicate to different audiences, different things to achieve different objectives. And that's a very different talent or skill set than just being naturally charismatic, which is what a lot of sales folks have been able to, get away with for a long time. Is just their natural ability to persuade and be charismatic with people and whatnot. It's getting to a point where that's just not enough anymore. You have to understand how digital marketing communications work. You have to understand, what PPC ads are. You have to understand, how social media, works organically and paid. You have to understand PR in a digital environment and world, not where you're just calling reporters cold and pitching stories anymore. There's a technique now that you have to understand. You have to understand all these different things in order to successfully navigate and function in the current professional environment. We've now entered that era. So, and I recognize that that's kind of self-serving to assert. I'm fully aware of that, but rest assured that is the case today. There is no way around it anymore. And that's kind of why I talk so much about, guys, we have to really just kind of get to a place where we've accepted that this new world, this new environment is here to stay. I mean, I know, a lot of companies. I read an article recently in the Wall Street Journal how a lot of employers are saying, enough's enough, to come back to the office and whatnot, and that's great. And I feel like a lot of places, will do that and whatnot. But as I said before, you're not going to necessarily have all the best people working there, because all the best people who are really good at what they do, and I'm talking about knowledge workers. I'm not talking about, I want to make sure I make this clear, because I understand there can be some confusion about what I'm talking about here. Some people think I'm talking about everyone, like everyone in the workforce and whatnot. No, I recognize there's certain jobs that need to be done in person, right? It's by virtue and nature of their position, it has to be done in a physical sense. I'm talking primarily about knowledge workers, people who do things or perform work that is sort of ethereal, and is conceptual and can be done through digital means. If there really is no functional purpose or reason for them to be physically present in an office, and they can do their job remotely, like they have been for the last couple of years, the people who are really good for financial reasons, for opportunity reasons, are going to continue to do that. Even if they do come back to the office for a little while, eventually they're going to realize this doesn't make any sense. I'm just going to go back to working virtually remote for a company that allows me to do that, or contract on my own and start my own company and do it that way. But that's what's happening. So because that's becoming more and more normative, and because you have to conduct transactions and sales through digital means now, primarily, unless again you're a coffee shop or something like that. You have to have a firm kind of understanding of how digital marketing communications works, at least at the fundamental level, in order to have any kind of impact or input in a lot of different areas of business. So, I'm trying my best to empower folks and provide the tools they need to not only, if they are in this field, to perform their job and to do different things and provide insights on things that I've learned over the course of the last 15, 16 years working in this field, but also to provide folks who are not in this field some insight and some knowledge on, how these things go and how to communicate with different audiences. So that's why I have, and this is kind of the announcement I wanted to make. I've recently created a course on strategic digital marketing communications. It's kind of an introductory course, and it's for folks who want to not only start providing strategic digital marketing services on their own, or who want to grow in that field if they're already in it, but for folks who have no exposure to it whatsoever, really, and want to kind of take a little deeper of a dive into that world and what it's like to be somebody in that position, in that field. I provide some tactical stuff, but I also provide some insight on what happens when you first enter an organization and there are communication challenges, for instance, and there's change management communications that need to happen and things of that nature. So I've recently launched that. It's now available. The link to it will be in the show notes. So if you guys are interested, go ahead and check that out, and feel free to take the course. And I really hope that it helps a lot of people. But again, it's part of this larger effort to kind of get everyone to understand that things are different now, and having you have to have the understanding of this stuff almost at the digital native level. A digital native is someone whose entire life has only really known or used digital technology in various capacities. You have to know this stuff to that level, because if you don't, things are just going to pass you by. And maybe you're somebody who's already kind of felt that way and recognized that, man, I never really had to concern myself so much about or concern myself with the click-through rate or things like that, or the conversion rate, or targeting ads and demographics and whatnot. I've never had to worry about any of that stuff, but now I have to. That seems to be more and more of my world, and that's what's happening to a lot of folks who are starting to take some of the courses that I've been teaching in various universities. You do have to kind of understand this stuff at this point. And if you're hitting a wall, if you find yourself that I can't get away with just, pawning that off on somebody else or expecting somebody else to take care of that, or to understand that, this course can be a great resource for you. So, take advantage of it. I encourage you to let me know what you think about it. And, I truly do hope that it helps a lot of folks who've kind of, this is kind of the result of a lot of folks kind of, in various ways asking for that, like kind of just give us a crash course on, what to do and how to do it. And so that's what this is. I will likely probably create more courses that are more tactically focused, that go a little deeper into stuff at the tactical level. But for right now, this is a great way to just kind of introduce yourself to the world of digital marketing communications and doing it strategically. Just some of the stuff that I've learned over the years. So let me know what you think. And again, share this episode with anyone you think could benefit from hearing this information and maybe the course itself. And as always, good luck out there. Thank you for checking out this episode of the JJS Podcast. If you're watching us via YouTube, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the show. And if you're listening in through Spotify or Apple Podcasts or something like that, be sure to rate us there as well. Hope you enjoyed listening. And remember, communication without strategy is just noise. Till next time.